Welcome to the Daily History Podcast, where every episode we dive deep into the pages of the past to unravel the secrets of history's most captivating tales. Today, we'll be venturing into America's oldest unsolved mystery, the enigmatic story of the Lost Colony of Roanoke. Step back in time with us to the year 1587, an age of exploration and ambition that would mark its significance in the chronicles of the New World. As the sun casts long shadows over the densely forested island of Roanoke, located off the coast of what is now known as North Carolina, we find ourselves in a period draped with the promise and peril of new beginnings. There enters a figure central to our story, John White, an English artist and mapmaker chosen to lead the expedition that sailed under the banner of Queen Elizabeth I. The waves of the Atlantic Ocean carry these colonists, fueled by dreams of prosperity and the burgeoning fervor of the Elizabethan age, to establish the first English settlement in the Americas. This expedition followed two previous attempts under Sir Walter Raleigh's charter, the first of which had failed to take root, and the second having returned home with tales of the land's potential. And thus, we must consider the broader stage upon which this drama unfolds. England, a nation vying for its place in global dominion, saw colonization as a means to expand its power, wealth, and influence. The Spanish had already established a vast empire across the Atlantic, and the English were eager to challenge their control of the high seas and new territories. The Roanoke Colony was as much about strategic positioning as it was about the search for gold and new trade routes. It was a stepping stone towards England's envisioned empire. The undertones of religious rivalry were ever present as the Protestant English sought to extend their reach in the face of Catholic Spain's expanding dominions. This geopolitical chess game set the stage for one of history's most enduring enigmas, as John White and his company of settlers stepped ashore Roanoke under the watchful gaze of an untamed wilderness that held its breath in the balmy air of the late 16th century. Once ashore on this unfamiliar terrain, the English colonists of Roanoke faced immediate challenges that would test their resolve and their very survival. The year was 1587, and the would-be settlers, led by John White, landed on Roanoke Island with the hope of establishing a permanent base. Yet, what awaited them was a land beautiful but brimming with trials. The first encounter with adversity was the land itself, untamed and unyielding. The colonists quickly learned that the soil was difficult to cultivate, and the seeds brought from England were ill-suited to the new environment. Thus, the dream of flourishing crops was met with the harsh reality of failure, leading to immediate food shortages. As supplies dwindled, anxiety spread through the fragile community. In tandem with these struggles, the colonists' interactions with the Native American tribes were pivotal. Initially, there was hope for cooperation, as the local tribes possessed the knowledge and understanding of the land that the English lacked. However, relations were strained by past encounters and the very real fear of the unknown on both sides. The English settlers' desperate need for assistance was met with justifiable suspicion by the Native Americans, who saw their lands and ways of life under threat. Compounding their troubles, the supply chain that the colonists so crucially depended on was disrupted. England, far across the Atlantic, was entangled in its own affairs, including the brewing storm of the Anglo-Spanish War. The critical resupply mission was fraught with peril, as oceanic voyages were high-risk endeavors, subject to the whims of weather, privateers, and naval warfare. Aware of these perils, the situation in Roanoke grew increasingly dire. Recognizing that the colony's survival hung in the balance, John White made the arduous decision to return to England for help. His heart heavy with the burden of leadership and the welfare of the settlers, including his own family, White embarked on his return trip in late 1587. Little did he know that forces beyond his control would delay his return, leaving Roanoke to its mysterious fate. This crucial moment of departure set the stage for the eerie silence that would greet the world when Roanoke was revisited. It was a gamble, but one that John White and the colony deemed necessary. a decision that would shape the enigmatic story of America's lost colony for centuries to come. In the year 1587, John White, the governor of the new colony, was faced with an impossible choice. His fledgling settlement on Roanoke Island was in dire need of supplies and support. Reluctantly, he made the decision to sail back to England, leaving behind his family and the other settlers in the hopeful promise of a swift return. But as the winds of fate would have it, John White's journey was not to be a swift one. The seas upon which he sailed were teeming with the chaos of the Anglo-Spanish War. England's waters and resources were devoted to the defense against the mighty Spanish Armada, delaying White's return for an agonizing 3 years. It wasn't until 1590 that he was able to navigate his way back to the shores of Roanoke, his heart heavy with anticipation of reuniting with his loved ones, and his mind anxious about the state in which he would find the colony. It was the 18th of August when John White set foot once again on Roanoke Island, but the reunion he had envisioned was nowhere to be seen. Instead, he was met with eerie silence. The colony was deserted, the homes and structures hauntingly abandoned. No trace of the 115 settlers, including White's daughter and granddaughter, the first English child born in the New World, Virginia Dare, was to be found. The only clue pointing to their possible whereabouts was a cryptic message carved into a wooden post, Croatoan. The word referred to a nearby island, but the overgrowth and dereliction hinted that the colony hadn't been hastily evacuated in distress. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of a violent confrontation. The absence of such evidence made the disappearance all the more baffling. In the absence of clear answers, the fate of the lost colony has incited speculation and mystery for over 4 centuries. What became of the colonists? Did they meet a tragic end, or did they somehow manage to merge with the Croatoan tribe, leaving behind their past lives to survive in a new world vastly different from the one they had known? The lost colony of Roanoke remains one of history's enduring enigmas, a puzzle from the past still waiting to be solved. As we delve deeper into the enigma of the lost colony of Roanoke, we turn our attention to the various theories and hypotheses that have surfaced over the centuries. Scholars and historians alike have wrestled with the question, what fate befell the English settlers who vanished without a trace? Today, we explore some of the most prominent ideas that attempt to solve America's oldest mystery. The first theory we consider is assimilation. Some historians suggest that the colonists may have integrated with local Native American tribes. This theory is bolstered by reports from subsequent settlers and explorers who claim to have encountered Native Americans with European features and artifacts. Could the colonists have chosen to live amongst the tribes, perhaps as a means of survival? Or were there alliances formed through marriage and kinship, weaving the settlers into the fabric of tribal society? Another darker theory posits that the Roanoke colonists met with a grim fate, perhaps falling victim to hostilities, famine, or disease. The absence of any signs of battle or struggle at the site of the colony does not rule out conflict with neighboring tribes, but it equally leaves room for speculation about epidemics that could have decimated the small community. European settlers were not immune to the onslaught of unfamiliar diseases that ravaged the Americas after contact, nor were they insulated from the natural hardships of the New World. Some experts have explored the hypothesis of natural disasters, such as hurricanes or severe droughts, which could have wiped out the colony or forced the settlers to relocate. The mention of Croatoan carved into a post and the letters Crow on a nearby tree might signify a desperate move to the Croatoan Island, now known as Hatteras Island, in search of a more hospitable environment and resources. Could severe weather patterns have rendered their original settlement uninhabitable? Discussions about relocation invariably circle back to the likelihood of severe food shortages or external threats, which could have prompted the settlers to seek out a new settlement. Despite establishing relations with some local tribes, it's plausible that tensions or misunderstandings arose, pushing the colonists to move in hopes of finding peace or better prospects elsewhere. But without concrete evidence of their exact path, the destination of this prospective relocation remains unknown. Finally, let us analyze the suggestions of relocation further. If the settlers did indeed leave Roanoke Island, the burning question is, why did John White, upon his return, find the colony abandoned with no clear signs pointing to where they went? Was the cryptic Croatoan a hasty message left to inform him of their destination, or was it meant to mislead? The clues are sparse, the speculation is boundless, but the truth remains elusive, shrouded by the passage of time. As we continue our quest to illuminate the shadows of history, we arrive at the sustained efforts to unearth the truths behind the lost colony of Roanoke. The soil of the past, so full of secrets, has been meticulously turned over by archaeologists fervent in their search for answers. Over the years, a number of archaeological digs have been conducted at sites around Roanoke Island and within the region known as Croatoan, today's Hatteras Island. Notably, the Croatoan Archaeological Project, established in 1993 and ongoing, has dug deep into these grounds. Among the finds are English pottery, tools, and even personal items that could have belonged to the colonists. Dating back to the late 16th century, these artifacts offer tantalizing hints of where some of the settlers might have gone after abandoning the Roanoke settlement. Historians, too, have not been idle, poring over letters, maps, and accounts from the period. The primary source of our knowledge is the account of Governor John White himself, who chronicled the colonists' arrival and his return in 1590 when he found the settlement deserted. Other documents, such as the so-called Zuniga map, created by Spanish agents around the same time, offer clues that researchers have scrutinized for potential insights into the colonists' fate. Advancements in technology have brought new momentum to the quest. Ground-penetrating radar, for instance, has revealed structures and disturbances beneath the Earth's surface without the need for excavation. DNA analysis offers another avenue of investigation, with the potential to link living individuals to the Roanoke colonists through genetic inheritance. Modern analytical techniques applied to both artifacts and the natural environment continue to sharpen the image of Roanoke's last days, bringing us ever closer to solving this enduring mystery. As we near the conclusion of our exploration of Roanoke, let's take a moment to reflect upon the colony's enduring shadow in American history. It's 1587, and an ambitious group of English settlers land on Roanoke Island, setting the stage for what would become one of the greatest mysteries in the New World. This story, though rich in intrigue, is more than a simple tale of disappearance. It is a tale that has profoundly shaped the contours of early American narrative. The Lost Colony of Roanoke serves as a cornerstone in the mythos of American colonization. In an era where the promise of a new world was ripe with limitless opportunities, Roanoke became the symbol of ambition and the unforeseeable risks accompanying those who dared to dream. With John White's return to an empty settlement in 1590, the mystery began to weave itself into the fabric of American folklore, where it has remained, capturing imaginations and spawning countless theories about the settlers' fate. The role of Roanoke in our nation's story is not just about colonization, but also about the enduring human spirit and our relentless need to seek the unknown against all odds. And what of the broader implications of Roanoke's mystery? Unsolved enigmas, such as this, force us to consider the ways in which gaps in historical knowledge invite speculation, legend, and the rewriting of narratives. The dearth of clear evidence regarding the Roanoke settlers' fate reminds us that history at times is but a fragile construction awaiting new interpretations. Stories like Roanoke compel us to probe into the abyss, confronting the limitations of our understanding and urging generations of historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts to keep questioning, keep searching, and keep the past alive in the ever-unraveling tapestry of time. Thank you for joining us on the Daily History Podcast as we delved into the perplexing story of the Lost Colony of Roanoke. If you enjoyed this journey through America's oldest mystery, don't forget to subscribe and share with friends who love history. Have any theories about Roanoke, or is there a particular historic mystery you want to unravel with us next? Drop your comments below, and if your suggestion gathers the most likes, it might become the focus of one of our upcoming episodes. Your participation enriches our exploration of the past, and we're grateful for your engaged listenership. Until next time, keep searching for those whispers of history that are waiting to be found.